Mm. Mm. Mm.
So there's this clip that I saw going viral, and it really confused me.
Why can't we eat babies? What's wrong with eating babies? If we've got extra babies around that nobody wants, why can't we eat them, right?
What the?
Do you remember those really weird, silly conspiracies where people were like, "Oh, these elite, famous, rich people aren't even human. They're like lizard people."
So there's this clip that I saw going viral, and it really confused me.
Why can't we eat babies? What's wrong with eating babies? If we've got extra babies around that nobody wants, why can't we eat them, right?
What the?
Do you remember those really weird, silly conspiracies where people were like, "Oh, these elite, famous, rich people aren't even human. They're like lizard people, or like they're just not human." So humans actually can't handle digesting human blood. Like it can cause organ failure and then you die. But like, what? Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy, right?
Right.
This goes viral. It's all over TikToks. Everyone's reacting to it.
But
What do you think is wrong with that video?
Well,
The hand of heaven is
is
here.
it real?
Show
the
some
girl
respect.
looks odd.
So there's this clip that I saw going viral, and it really confused me.
Why can't we eat babies? What's wrong with eating babies? If we've got extra babies around that nobody wants, why can't we eat them, right?
What the?
Do you remember those really weird, silly conspiracies where people were like, "Oh, these elite, famous, rich people aren't even human. They're like lizard people, or like they're just not human." So humans actually can't handle digesting human blood. Like it can cause organ failure and then you die. But like, what? Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy, right?
Right.
This goes viral. It's all over TikToks. Everyone's reacting to it.
But
What do you think is wrong with that video?
Well, what? Well,
Is it real?
the girl looks odd.
Okay.
One, she looks odd.
That's just her head.
One, yeah, it might be the eyes or something.
I
with the
appreciate the shade.
there's a proportion with the face. And
That's how she was born.
No, I think maybe she's a lizard person. Okay, but maybe
you
there's
about to give her nightmares for no reason.
Maybe there's a filter or whatever. The filter, the skin is off. It's weird. It's weird. But it's fine. Maybe there's a filter that's used. One, two is what you're saying even real?
Like,
about
is it AI?
eating blood or whatever, whatnot. The third thing is where is that? What she's talking about? Is it where is it from?
Okay, so that is her real head that you called the lizard, and
Maybe.
I can tell you that this is not an AI video. So that's Sam Harris that she's talking about being an elite who eats babies or whatever, and they're all fucking weird. This is the video that went viral, so I'm gonna just play. It's part of a long debate that they had between Sam Harris and Cenk Uygur a long time ago.
Right.
Much of my discussions have not to do with policy, but have been an effort to get at ethical bedrock. I mean, I write and think as a philosopher, and in the context of having a philosophical discussion about ethics and right and wrong, you can say many things that seem crazy outside of a philosophy seminar, but in a philosophy seminar are totally legitimate. So in a philosophy seminar, you could say, why can't we eat babies? What's wrong with eating babies? If we've got extra babies around that nobody wants, why can't we eat them, right? That is a completely insane thing to say in the world, seemingly. That's the kind of thing that if quoted out of context, if Glenn Greenwald decides to tweet, Sam Harris.
Come our next victims.
What are the odds? What are the odds that this, I'm going to keep going with it. What are the odds that he would,
We can't figure out why we can't eat babies, right? It makes me look like an asshole. But the reality is that if you're talking about to the bedrock about the ethics of good and evil and the use of force, if you're trying to then starting the conversation with why can't we eat babies? Give me an ethical argument about why this is really, really wrong. Why our intuitions of its wrongness can be conserved.
Yeah, somebody take care of that Iron Man on the right.
Thing to do, and there's not a philosopher on earth who would
there he is
think
in
you
the
were a
center.
weirdo for having that conversation.
So he spends a lot of time talking about the ethics involved with a lot of different things that are difficult questions to answer. And it's about really pushing ideas to their limit to really understand our ethical and where our values really lie and why they are concrete, not just for the reasons that we innately believe in them, but there's actual like a logical train of thought that you can kind of lead through these things. So that's all this conversation was about. And he's cognizant of the fact that it's a weird sentence, but he's explaining it why it's valid in this context of philosophy and trying to understand things. People clipped it the same way he said it would, except it wasn't Glenn Beck or some other Fox News host. It was randoms on TikTok. Maybe it was a right-wing thing that I don't know. But I can just tell you,
Dog, it's hard to heal when I'm getting dove on like
having never
crazy.
seen this interview, you was taken out of context. Because I've watched enough Sam Harris clips to know. Generally, he's fairly ethical about his stuff. He does think things through. There's no way he's actually advocating.
Yeah, but then you guys are leaving me. How am I supposed to heal you guys at all if I say it's fun?
This lady did the time to do her little stitch, do her little weird faux fake outrage.
How's that for my
Never
game
took a
together?
second
Just got rid
to go,
of
what is
the
that
jet.
short 5-second clip from? And I only say that because it is a crazy sentence. It looks horrible out of context. But it's almost so crazy, it would behoove you to just Google it. Where did this come from? What was the context? Before you stick someone on this thing and make them sound like some kind of giant pedo who's on an island eating babies. But people don't mind that. They will take a 5-second clip, run a stitch, and then have a bunch of people thinking this man is a cannibal and he enjoys humans with zero meat on them.
It's funny that you're saying that
Go ahead.
because that's a subject that you brought on.
Yeah.
I had a similar freaking subject. I've been receiving a couple of messages by angry Quebecers. Be like, shut up. They were just reacting to a clip that someone took a clip of Abba and Preach, right? Can you play the clip, please?
There's no white culture. Exactly what is white culture?
You have a fucking culture. I don't. You have like no culture. Whiteness has no culture.
So you hear that, and then they clipped it, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck? You think we don't have a culture? You don't, man, yeah."
I am glad.
Nice.
This segment, I'm saying that white people got no culture, is taken off a video that we did, obviously.
Today's topic: do white people have culture? Okay, so when people say black culture,
Oh my God, that beard is crazy. I look like I just got out of Abu Ghraib.
Yes.
I look like I've been held hostage in Guantanamo.
Yes.
And
Abba Hanks right there.
and they let me out.
Castaway.
Yeah, they
don't
let
push
me out
alone,
so
don't
Epstein
push
and his
alone.
buddies could have fun. It is a crazy look on my face.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm stroking that beard
I don't know
like
what
people
you
live
expect to be able
inside.
to do by
Holy
yourself.
shit.
Hey, you're gathering the troops. You're like,
I'm stroking
come,
this.
my babies. come, my baby.
I will
What a
just
fly.
say, you know what I mean?
Baby.
Yo, can you put me side by side? I'm just playing. Someone said Abba looked homeless. Yes, I was in fact rich. Keep going.
But some people might look at Abba there and think, can we?
In fact, I can assure you, they definitely did. Even at my homeless face, we always had a trash bag, a back alley, a place you could find me to get some of that dirty. And it was literally dirty.
Who the fuck did this? Who did this?
black culture does not mean the amalgamation of all black people. You know, black culture represents a specific set of people who live in America who are black, whose only form of identification with people who understand each other from a certain like struggle or cultural standpoint are other blacks. And so they use the term black to identify as a group, right? White people in America view themselves as American. Black folks in America either view themselves as black or African American. There's a suffix to represent their blackness. So I think that's why people talk about black culture. And then the counterpart's like, well, white people got culture too. Yeah, but you don't really refer to it as white culture. You refer to it as American culture.
Or different genre of culture that you have. Yeah, there's American culture, that's why. But if you're talking about the world itself, there's no white culture. There's white cultures. Boom. You see, if you take my people, the Scottish, they're white, and they have their own Scottish culture. Try to mix Scottish with Irish, they have their separate cultures. You can't do that. Try to mix Scottish, Irish, and English and call it the same, you're in for a fight.
You're in the United Kingdom.
Yes. But you gotta fight. But,
go back.
Yeah.
What a fight. You're in for a great movie. Braveheart.
Yo, Angela, I don't know what you're trying to do. Like, oh my God. Dude.
Then again, it depends.
She's just out there going off by herself.
Where they're from. You know what I mean?
I think the only idea of blackness or whiteness, the only place where that's kind of pervasive is in cultures or countries where multiculturalism is very prominent. In that people who are from minority communities feel ostracized by the greater culture. So like in some countries, because you feel so ostracized for either the color of your skin or your background or whatever it might be, you're going to identify with something other than the country in which you live in.
Someone said, Abba, were you okay? You looked like you were going through hell. It was called lockdown.
Yes.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to leave our houses.
Yes.
There was a curfew. Nobody could hang out. If I tried to invite two of my friends, I would go to jail. It was a wild time. At that point, people were like, oh my God, you look like Castaway. I remember a month, I didn't leave my apartment one time.
Yep. Someone wrote The Pursuit of Happiness. Nobody.
If that was the time where that shit was normalized, that was it.
Yeah, but there was no work.
There was no work.
Everything was closed.
Everything was home.
Every event was closed.
You couldn't see people.
Uber home.
And people didn't want to see you because they didn't want to catch it.
Yep.
It was a wild time.
So that's pretty much it. People use certain things out of context to rage bait you. And sometimes because you think with your emotion or you watch social media with your emotion, you don't care to look for the source or what was actually said. You know, even one person I tried to engage in a conversation in Quebec, it was like, yo, you said that. And I was like, that's not what I said. Here's the full clip. Here you go. And I made at that time, and I was engaging with some people, and I was like, no, that's not what I said, bro. And that's out of context. Here, this is the clip. That's what I said. And then the person was so much in their emotion, so much in their thing, in their trauma, and the reaction to that. You're saying that we don't have a culture. That's not what I said. I never said that. The first clip that you saw was what they were trying to do, and it took me out of context, right? What I explained you what I said. I explained you what you said. Yeah, but you're asking the question, and just asking the question is out of place. Now you bugging. The question out there is being asked. And as a social commentary channel, we decide to comment on it because it's part of our society and our lives. So we're just gonna, that's an interesting fact. I hear this thing where, no, you asked the question, it's problematic. And that's why I stopped talking to the person. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're setting your idea. You brought something forth. I proved you wrong. You moved the goalpost to some other problem. It's fine. It's okay. I'm okay with being the villain. All I'm saying is try not to just don't believe anything. Don't believe anything just that is served to you. Oh my God, I'm so pissed. Wait. Go look at the source. Go look at what was actually said. Sometimes certain things are manufactured to make you react, such as politics and such as stuff like that. So when you go like that and you go as much as going in someone's DM to comment on that and insulting them when you haven't researched anything, you just trigger, which I understand why, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I think if you're a fucking idiot who sees a 5-second clip and then you have a reaction, that's on you. And I'm not sympathetic. I'm not understanding. I don't really care. If you're not going to be bothered to actually look at what was said or even bitch, there wasn't even a period in the quote.
No.
You saw 3 words and you started yapping. That's on you. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't care. You're an idiot. Take the time. Especially if you're going to say something, take the time. And if you're not going to, you're a fucking idiot. And that goes the same thing for everyone else. These are really weird things that people are just taking 2 to 3 seconds. I know our attention span has made some people fucking lazy and really short-sighted, ready to comment. Y'all spend more time commenting than you did looking up the bitch.
Amen.
Your comments take more time to write than it does to even watch the fucking clip. So no, I don't understand. I think you're an idiot. And I think we need to stop doing this empathy thing for people who are too lazy to do the bare minimum for themselves. I don't feel sympathy for you. I'm glad to call you a fucking retard. And you are. And that's true for anybody. Especially if you just watch 5 more seconds, we agree. So you take the time to start a conflict, drag the bitch on when you could have Googled it and realized we on the same page. You stupid.
And you know what? I'm gonna add some more to that. To that person that I spoke to, I made the research for you, and you were still mad.
Yeah, bro.
Big old bitch. Someone said Matthew Ryan William, one of the members, said research over me search. I'm using that.
I just think it's crazy too because like what we said was completely accurate. If you speak to anybody from any part of the world, be it Europe or whatever it is, and you ask them, oh, like what are you? They're gonna say Italian. They're gonna say Irish. They're gonna say Norwegian. Whatever the fuck it is normal. Me being out there, like the idea of like identifying with race first is never a thing that they have. They're very proud of their, and then if you go to Italy, the south of Italy, the north of Italy, Sicily, these things all matter to their identity far more than the idea of race.
Sicilians
so
are
that's
not-
why it's not a crazy thing. Even black folks, you go to Africa, nobody really be talking about blackness like that. They talk about their tribe and their ethnicity way more. So the black American experience is its own thing. It comes from the slave trade. It comes from the fact that a lot of their history was erased. That's different. Just because they do it and there's a specific reason doesn't mean we all got to sit back. You think Asian people will like, shit, us yellow people? No. You're Asian, you're going to be like, I'm Viet, I'm Filipino, and they're very much centered in that first.
And then it's also where they're from. Because even if they're Chinese, I'm not Chinese. I'm from there. I'm from this. I'm from that. All I was about to say is Sicilians are not Italian. They're Sicilian.
Oh my God.
What?
You know how many other types of Italians that aren't Sicilians have been trying to fight for Sicilians to be part of Italy?
Same thing with Calabrese. But Sicilians.
All right, now you got me fucked up.
Anyway, it is what it is. But I think you're right into the sympathy thing. Yeah, you're not doing the research.
Yeah.
Now you're triggered. You're all alone on your side, triggered as fuck. Now you're venting, hot as fuck, looking like, I just wanted to plug that for no reason.
That's a great way to end.
Helen is on my side.
Hey guys,
Deserves your attention.
welcome back to the channel.
Perhaps you should see
It's good to
this.
see you again. I know it's been a couple of weeks, and the only excuse that I have is that our team has actually been working on another project. And we'll get into that project a little later, but I kind of want to take this moment to remind you why we've built Buyer, why we've built Web, our new project, and what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish here. We are a company that builds tools for people. People like you, people like me, people like your neighbor, right? The entire idea is that we're using technology to give you the power to make your own decisions, to be sovereign, to live in the way that's most sense for you. So that's why we build the tools that we have. So Buyer, so much control is happening through our food system. And we figure that if you have the information at your fingertips of what you're actually supporting, what you're actually buying, how your money goes back out into society, then you can make the decisions that make sense for you, for the world that you want to see. Because your money, your attention is what they are after. It's what actually shapes our society. So we figure if you can understand from the food level at the grocery store, at the place where you are going to potentially purchase your food, if you have the right information in your hand, you can actually maneuver through the world in the way that makes sense for you. You're no longer being led by the illusion of choice, right? And so with that sort of ethos, we've been building other tools in the background. So for the last few months, we've actually been working on a tool that is, the best way to put it is that it helps you make sense of large data sets. Maybe it's an email leak, or maybe it's the Epstein files. And so oftentimes what happens is these large data sets, they come out and they come from the government, and the government makes you feel like disclosure has happened, that you're being given the information. But they kind of set it up in a way that's not very intuitive. on how you can interact with it, how you can view it, how you can make connections. And so we started building a tool at first for ourselves. You know, we're content creators. Ian Carroll, he's one of our partners. He's a huge content creator. It started with an email drop that had happened about 6 months ago. Made the first really crude email scraper that helped us understand like who's in these emails, right? And that is what kind of started this idea. Then the Epstein files started dropping one by one, and we decided we really needed a way to use technology so that you can actually, anybody can actually go through these files and make sense of them. Because if you were to go in there manually, keyword by keyword, page by page, as a single person or as a team, it could take months or years to even read all of it, let alone
as long as
make it make
Spider-Man
sense.
is still around, everything will be all right.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure.
I don't mean
Period.
it that way.
Now,
You just mean a
we're-
lot to a lot of people.
Bro. Yep.
Can y'all stop pushing up like dumbasses?
Battle starts in 5,
How about that?
3.
I got a lower.
Gonna hold you. You better get muted.
Need to do is capture the mission.
I don't give a
Put that into
fuck.
here. And now I'm asking it a follow-up question. So it's going to take the context from the first
Get
question
off the game, bro.
and
You sound like you're
it's
50.
going to look into the second question
50 years old,
and
talking
give
crazy
me
on a kid's game.
a response, which I think is really cool. So maybe Jeffrey Epstein didn't have direct ties to our food industry that are like super concrete, but he did have a lot of connections to a lot of other investors. So maybe we can look at some of his investment groups, what they were invested in. So Steve Hansen's role as Epstein's food industry consultant. So that's interesting. Now, he's a key player that we can look at. The document reveals that Steve Hansen served as Jeffrey Epstein's primary consultant for food industry investments, with their relationship extending beyond just the live kitchen opportunity. Hansen was the president and CEO of BR Guest Restaurants and had a deep expertise in restaurant and the food sector. So now we can say conclusively that there was somebody within Epstein's circle who was pretty active in the food sector in these different restaurants and frozen foods and things of that nature. And we're not going to go deep into this investigation. That's not what this is about. I just wanted to kind of show you guys what we've been working on, why I haven't put out a video in a couple of weeks, but I am very much getting back onto doing weekly videos for you guys. Don't you worry. I'm also switching from weekends to midweek. I think that's just better. The metrics are saying that that's better for us. So we'll be shifting out of weekends and then going midweek now, probably Wednesday or Thursday of each week. And we're going to investigate a lot more that isn't just Jeffrey Epstein. And so we are going to be putting up all sorts of data sets into here, and I'm going to do more investigations around food using this tool, because I think that this type of tool is important, because information is important. And we want to give you guys information. That's what Buyer is about. That's what Web is about. That's what everything we do is at the fundamental base level. That is what it is about. It is about empowering people with information.
You just did a whole lot of nothing, bro. You ain't talking about the victims. Man, get the fuck off the screen. Literally just yapping so you can get to go viral.
Files are getting taken down. We're now seeing a whole bunch of things being removed from the site. Now it seems like the state, the Justice Department are actually going to be going to war with the online investigators that have been downloading and preserving some of these files. And for whatever reason, they're taking them down, they're deleting files, and it might unfortunately be too late. Is it possible that the Department of Justice and the FBI actually underestimated online intelligence and research communities? It's highly possible, okay? I was already scared. I'm even more scared now. I might have said too much, but in this video, I'm going to break down to you how the basic cover-up and withdrawal of the Epstein files is happening in real time, and how the investigators online in places like Reddit, in places like 4chan and beyond, are basically ready to go to war with the government over the Epstein files, all right? And I'm all here for it, all right? If I had some popcorn, I'd be pulling it out right now. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'll break it all down to you in this video. So as you can see here, the first thing I'm going to show you, okay, this is just one of the first examples of files being deleted, and this was about 3 weeks ago now, okay? There's apparently been a big effort to delete some files in the last couple of days, but I just want to show you and let you know that this has been going on for quite some time. They have been apparently taking down files that got a little bit too spicy, a little bit too scary, okay? This was an example of one of the most sordid files and documents that I discussed in a previous video with you guys not too long ago that has apparently now already been taken down. This got taken down very quickly, and I did do a video about it, so maybe I should be worried, all right? This was the file that related to basically where they said that Epstein was buying and selling girls online through his emails, okay? There were these pictures of girls that he was being sent. They redacted the faces of the girls, to be fair, okay? But basically, my headphones are mad uncomfortable. That's right. Okay. This basically was a file that was going around. You know, I showed you this in a previous video. He was getting sent pictures of girls that were seemingly for sale. You know, there were other emails where he had bragged of essentially buying girls and buying one of his girlfriends from the east of Europe, I believe it was. But basically, this is now saying that the Department of Justice have deleted a series of emails from redacted persons with Epstein sending pictures of girls to be bought and sold. Right, check in r/Epstein for more details. This was from r/circled. But what's interesting, okay, people saying this is the evidence that Kash Patel said definitely didn't exist. Now, look, I'm not trying to have no problem with Kash Patel. All right, seems like a fun guy. Seems like he knows how to party for sure. But it is definitely a little bit confusing, all right? It is a little bit confusing. This was pretty much a bombshell post that was going around. Okay, and it was apparently deleted. It was suddenly deleted. Things got a little bit too real and it got deleted, and there's a bunch more examples of this. Now, what's really interesting is this is happening in the midst of the fact that basically representatives from Congress were allowed to look at unredacted files from the Epstein files. They were allowed to have a little opportunity to look up files and things that the public weren't allowed to see, at least without redactions. And some of those politicians have actually come out and spoken out and basically said that they're going to name people that are redacted in the files, not victims. We're talking about alleged perpetrators, co-conspirators. And one of these people, just a few days ago on February the 24th, would be Thomas Massie, who would publicly name co-conspirators that he had seen from the unredacted files, and he would accuse the government of hiding critical evidence in the Epstein files. So let's hear what he said in this video.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice, and Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice. When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files. Over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things, so much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide. But I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice.
He's making a very interesting point. He's saying that there's arrests happening all around the world. We just saw Prince Andrew get arrested in the UK. Lord Mandelson, another weird creep that was from the Epstein files, another Brit. Unfortunately, we do have to claim him, but, you know, it was with no joy that I do so. But there's not really much going on in the US. And what he's basically explaining, Thomas Massie's basically saying the Department of Justice, you know, is hiding critical evidence. They're protecting people. And the fact that a lot of these files are now being removed suddenly, it does kind of support that theory. And I think that the members of Congress are actually pissed. They're angry. They're upset that we're seeing, you know, even accountability coming in other countries, but the United States is a different story.
Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royalty, his royal titles, due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from United Kingdom's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country, but we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works. And yet we do not. Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions to see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner. Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in a child sex trafficking case and then tell him, according to him, that they had no questions for him? Why is that? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case of child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims, and ensnare so many other people in his conspiracy. Where are those documents that describe those decisions? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now.
So members of Congress are pretty furious, right? They're saying, why, I agree. Why hasn't Leslie Wexner been like, okay, we saw him giving his testimony the other day, but realistically, they said in the files he was a co-conspirator. Why has there not been a serious investigation? I mean, hey, there's been an investigation, but it went a certain way, right? People are furious. People are furious in the comments, okay? When exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, you are being ruled by criminals. Oh no, all right? If I can be fired for receiving tips at my retail job, it should be illegal for politicians to receive gifts from lobbyists. It's insane, okay? And more coverage has been coming out basically saying that, the Department of Justice is actively burying the evidence in the Epstein files. There's files that have gone missing. They've realized, oh shit, we shouldn't have put that up there. Let's take it down. It's too late. It's too late. They are scrambling. I'll give you my honest opinion. You want me to give you my honest opinion? Before I play you this next clip, let me just give you my honest opinion, okay? This is no disrespect. I hope I don't get any trouble by saying this. I think that perhaps there are senior people that wanted the Epstein files maybe smoothed over a little bit. Maybe they gave the orders. I'm going to say this very sensitively. Maybe they gave the orders to smooth certain things over, maybe just make things a little bit better, a little bit easier for some people. I think some of the people at the bottom, some of the people who were tasked with this awful job of smoothing some stuff over, I think they knew. And that's why I think we've seen files that look redacted, but you can copy and paste them into a Word document and you can see what's under the redactions. I think that's why we've seen files come out and then they've said, whoopsie, bring them back. I think the people at the bottom are upset and are angry with what they're being asked to do. And I think it's very, very possible that they've botched the release of these files on purpose to make it difficult for whatever angle anybody wanted to spin on this to deliver on. And I think as the years go by, we're only going to see more and more crazy stuff come out with these files. That's all I'm going to say, okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's my genuine opinion, right? But let me just show you a little bit more coverage about how the Department of Justice is apparently losing it when it comes to how this evidence is being put across.
Questions this hour about dozens of records that appear to be missing from the Epstein files. According to a CNN review, those records in question are FBI witness interviews, and 3 of the missing interviews are related to a woman who accused both Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump of sexually assaulting her decades ago. The top Democrat on the Oversight Committee is among those expressing concern.
I went to the DOJ file search room yesterday to look for these documents that are in the manifest document, and they should be in there, and they're not there. These documents relate to a survivor that has made serious allegations about the president. What's important now is that the DOJ explain to us why were those documents removed.
CNN's Kara Scannell joins us now. So, Kara, what more do we know about the specifics of these documents?
Well, Erica, the CNN investigative team have taken a look into these records, and they found that there are dozens of files that are missing. And the way that they were able to do this is they looked at the serial numbers that were on an evidence log provided to Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. And looking at those serial numbers, discovered that there were dozens of them missing. I mean, there were.
So I just want to make one thing clear. I think that, as I said before, I think that it's possible that the authorities really underestimated the kind of open source intelligence community, and they really didn't realize just how savvy some of these people are. You know, they're looking at serial numbers of a manifest of documents related to the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and then they're cross-referencing it against these Epstein files in the FBI records, and they're noticing things are missing. You got to be a smart cookie to work that out. I wouldn't have worked that out on my own. Okay, I'm one step behind. I don't know anything. I'm a big dummy on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I just read Reddit comments. That's what they always say. You're just a Reddit reaction channel. Okay, so I don't know nothing. But this community of researchers, so savvy, there's nothing that can really get by them. And I think whoever is responsible for these redactions, I think, unfortunately for them, they underestimated how savvy this community was. And I don't think anybody is ever going to forget that certain things haven't been seen. I know what I'm like. If I'm doing a video about some kind of hip hop history and I hear, oh, there's a video of this guy doing this back in the day and it's lost media, you trust me, I will do anything I can to go and find that clip. And I think these guys, they care even more.
These all relate to 302s. That's the FBI form for witness interviews. And there are 325 included on that list, but there are 90 of them missing. And within those 90 that are missing includes 3 from a woman who said that she was sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein going back to when she was as young as 13 years old. And she also made an allegation that she was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump in the 1980s. Now, we went to the White House with this. They said that these are false allegations and it's just sensationalist. The Justice Department said that they have not deleted any documents and that they said that if there are documents that are not on the public website, that's either because they were duplicates, privileged, or part of an ongoing investigation. We have seen with the release of these records on the public website that sometimes documents are there.
So they're saying, look, any documents that were missing, they were duplicates. All right, maybe they weren't. You know, they're part of an ongoing investigation. Now, that's the scariest part. If they're saying, look, the reason these documents aren't included because they're part of an ongoing investigation, well, who's being investigated currently? They should be scared. They should be very worried. Now, what I want to show you, and this is actually quite scary for me, is on February the 6th, 2026, so that's over 20 days ago now, right at the start of the month, there would actually be a warning posted on r/Epstein, and it urged researchers to be extremely careful and cautious about what they were sharing on the Epstein subreddit. This is a big problem. And there was basically somebody that explained something in there that was very, very dark, and they got in trouble. And accounts were getting allegedly deleted. It is very dark. So this is a post on r/Epstein. It said, be careful what you post on here, right? And this was a post that somebody made, and I'm scared. I don't want to point the finger at anyone, especially no big dogs. But people were saying they noticed that the word don't, whether don't, D-O-N''T, D-O-N space T, D-O-N space capital T, were automatically always redacted. The word don't was always redacted. And people were saying, why would the word Don T be automatically redacted from the files? I don't know. I don't know. Probably just a mistake. It says, as many of you know, we know Maxwell was a large Reddit moderator on some of the biggest subreddits here. I could cover that in a whole other video if you want. It said, if Maxwell could have such a large influence on Reddit, who knows what's going on in this subreddit? Some of Epstein's friends may be watching every post, and they may be posting themselves too. In the image above, this guy exposed some potential of DOJ redacting the big dog, the Don T name in all the files. Their account has also been deleted from Reddit and or banned from this sub at least 3 hours ago from the time I'm making this post. We don't really know why they are gone, but they are. Also, some days ago, someone posted Epstein's email login, and suddenly the email was flooded with hundreds of people. We don't know who could have gotten into the account, but maybe they deleted some emails, changed some things up, and it wouldn't be detected because so many people logged in. Another thing is that it could have been planned. People on that post noted how strange the account which was posted it was. Hang on, that doesn't make sense. People on that post noted how strange the account which posted it was, replying to comments with a different account. We truly have no idea of the scope or how deep it goes. We need to be diligent in our posts, and I feel like I'm taking a risk even making this post. I don't want to get anonymously contacted with my address or anything with threats, hence why I'm using a VPN right now, but maybe I'm being paranoid, I don't know. I just wanted to say, be careful what you post, or I fear that they're watching. Right? I said, hey, well, if any of them are reading, go fuck yourself. These guys are fearless. It says Reddit is removing threats to any of Epstein's associates. Mine just got pulled from this thread, so I'll say again, I actively daydream of sending his associates to the gulag, let's just say, or I don't want to get in trouble. It said, yeah, they're everywhere. I do suggest people nowadays, if they're going to work heavy on this, need to use a VPN. It's that bad. All right. I need a VPN. I need a fresh VPN sponsor for this. I got a temporary ban for saying stuff that may have offended the PDFs. I stand on that, and I think Reddit moderators are ridiculous. I don't get why saying child R-word and murder is a crime that deserves the worst type of punishment. It's controversial, right? But it says there's more of us than them. There's nothing to fear. Get it all out there. So when it comes to the topic of the files being covered up, deleted, removed, etc., being scrubbed, this is a very interesting post on r/conspiracy. One user built a comprehensive database to actually host the leaked files, especially the videos, and it mysteriously was taken down almost immediately. Right? It said Epstein video site, and it said full catalog of Epstein video files are out. Video index, 1,994 total video files that were being archived and cataloged on this new website, right? Immediately deleted, instantly gone, instantly deleted. Deleted in a matter of hours. OP even deleted their account and posted this message. Now, this was the original message when they posted it. It said, exit cipher here. It is done. Thanks to everyone for your support. This is the first step in the project is done. It's a fully scanned and categorized video browser with search functionality and extension filtering. It has all of the valid videos that I filtered through the search results with the help of a sniffer. It has 1,994 videos with 1,154 of them being AVI. Most of the AVI files are shorter than 1 second. They're snippets of same recordings. So it's not playable in most of the player except VLC, which you can see in the frame, but not all AVA files are corrupt. Right? Wow. Wow. So this is what they posted. They deleted their account. Said, everyone, I know website is showing all blank. This is unfortunately the end of my little project. Due to certain circumstances, I had to take it down. Thank you, everyone, for supporting me in my effort. They said, bro, do not leave us like this. What the F happened? Edit. His account is deleted as well. What the F does that mean? Gone. Your video library has already been taken down. That's actually kind of scary. And then this is a follow-up. They said they had to delete their profile because they're being tracked and followed. I am not joking. I DM'd the original poster. They were threatened. I guess I'm next. He said the threats are way beyond what he can share. I urge all of us to proceed with caution because what the F? Edit. Use code speak when discussing this, and please tell everyone you know to do so. Epstein. I don't even know who that is. Whatever. And those who DM'd me have seen the screenshot where he took his profile down because he couldn't continue. I'm not sharing it with everyone, but everyone exercise caution. What the hell? To be a whistleblower, you must have absolutely nothing to lose, including your life. I'm scared. I'm scared. So they don't want us to see anything curated to be able to piece this all together. They're saying this is exactly what happened with that story about coming across those buses on some property, and the driver handed the guy a business card. All the names on the card traced back to some shady people. They shut down everything. What the hell? Jesus Christ. It's effing real. Save and share. Oh, no. Oh, no. Should I click this link? I'm scared. Should I click this link? Is it archived? Oh, I'm scared. I'm actually too scared. I'm too scared. I'm too scared. What? It says if you pull the HTML from the page and grab all the links for each video, which look like this, and you can truncate. Anyway. Says, has no one yet set up an AI agent to scrape the justice site and build a timeline of people in the photos matching with discussions in emails and trying to piece together when predators are being redacted from the photos rather than victims? What the hell? What the hell? It said, I tested one video file on the justice site and it worked. I had to rename .pdf to MP4 and edited datasheet year. It's better to compress these files in .rar and upload all the stuff on OCH for everyone instead of using an open website. Edit. A script is now running, searching for hidden video files named as PDF. Please be patient, I'll inform you. All right. They didn't expect these coders and these hackers to be able to run scripts and be able to pull down the entire thing and re-upload it elsewhere. I'm honestly scared. I should stop. It says mods have taken down the whole post now. We're witnessing crazy stuff happening in real time. It's insane. They're saying Pizzagate 2.0. This is 5 billion times worse than Pizzagate. Pizzagate 1.0. This is Pizzagate. Every accusation is an admittance. And look at the people who pushed Pizzagate. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Dudes, don't use American-based servers for this stuff. Create copies in many cloud providers. Please share with foreign news reporters. It isn't limited to America or Americans. You should have open sourced the whole repository from the start and seeded it to torrents. Godspeed Brothers has crazy times to watch out for each other. Watch this for a little laugh. I don't even want to click. I'm not clicking any more links on this thread. That's crazy. The comments are weird on their own. Blocked history, suspicious comments. I'll say this. Don't keep these files on your computer. Don't view them on your personal computer or your cell phone. It's a trap in of itself. Be careful. This is a setup within a setup. Right? Wait. I don't know why I keep getting downvoted every time I post it, but if you go to the Pusha T file and copy the redactions, it gives you Trump's speech about Haitians in Springfield. I believe this is an attempt from someone to give from the inside to give Trump a middle finger. Not happening for me. Someone caught wind of it and it stopped. It doesn't work. All right. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to another post, but that is super creepy. All right. So now we're seeing highly upvoted posts covering the leaks mysteriously disappearing straight from Reddit's front page. So look at this that was going on, right? This was posted in r/Epstein. It says, so everyone else is seeing all the front page popular posts about Epstein getting deleted, right? There's obviously moderation is required for healthy online communities and keeping things on topic, but this obviously isn't that. The censorship is crazy. What should be done about it? So they're saying that posts about the Epstein files, they're making it to the front page of Reddit and they're instantly getting deleted. Too many people are seeing it. People are saying it's no surprise. It's Reddit. To CC user Ghislaine, is that Maxwell? CC user Maxwell Hill, Ghislaine Maxwell was a Reddit mod and the first Redditor ever to reach 1 million karma points. Who knew that? That's crazy. People were saying they want proof of that. It's all over the internet. Here's a source. No way. No way. Wait. Deleted. That's her. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. Redditor of the day. Locked post. She was Reddit. They deleted the post. Sorry, it's been removed by moderators. That's Ghislaine Maxwell's Reddit account. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be Redditor of the day. This is 16 years ago. The ironic timing is just, I don't want to get into it. Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to be the Redditor of the day. I'm honored indeed. I'll try my very best to answer everyone's questions. How does it feel to have the most link karma on Reddit? What do you think about the recent bogus, in my opinion, claims of Reddit power users? Oh my God, this is Ghislaine Maxwell. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell said, thanks. It feels good to find to the most link karma, but not many people know that. There isn't much. It feels good to have the most link karma. It's just the highest karma. There isn't much excitement or competition nowadays since Reddit admins stopped publishing the rating of the top 10 Redditors daily, weekly, and all time. The claim of power users is really misleading because the mods are really trying to control the amount of spam on their subreddits. They're not trying to prevent legit submissions from being voted up if they're interesting to users in order to push their own links. Edit. I think I should explain a little more on here why some users claim there are Reddit power users. This was because it asserted that a mod could use his position to ban certain links and promote his own links for some financial gain. There appears to be some conflict of interest as the mod is now in a position of power to dictate submissions to a subreddit to suit themselves. But quite honestly, the number of users in a large subreddit meant that you can't really get your own post to the front page if users don't like it. And it's no matter how many posts you try and ban as a mod, and it would be so obvious to other mods that they would stop you from doing so. So this notion of power users is not true. Excuse me, I'm getting cold. Yet there are popular users who build a large following, so they are power users, but they are positive contributors to Reddit. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so people, you know what? I'm going to save this for another video. I'm actually going to save this for I'm going to do a whole video on this because this is insane. This is actually insanity. So let me get back to the main point of this video. I'm going to do a deep dive into Ghislaine's Reddit profile because I just seen some shit. I'm going to save that for a whole video. I could talk about that for an hour. But ironically, okay, this is one of the most ironic things because this is what triggered me to do this video. Somebody actually posted in r/Epstein about a day ago. They're all gone. All the files have been deleted. Or all the images have been deleted. I was in the middle of using the file extension trick to view the hidden video files for the first time. At some point, certain pages stopped working and I can only go backwards to the ones loaded. Out of frustration, I decided to start over from scratch by once again typing no images produced. Only this time it didn't work. I've tried multiple times to get it back, nothing. I just saw 3,700 files removed in real time. And you might notice that I'm viewing this Reddit post as a downloaded PDF because the post itself has been removed as well. Funnily, the post has been also removed. Well, suspiciously, all right? This post has hit r/all and r/popular. Oh, but they've deleted the post. Deleted the whole post. Yeah, just as it makes it to r/all. People are saying, good thing there are plenty of backups, but where to find it? Someone made a Google account. You can search all of the things here. That's the Gmail account. You may be familiar with that, where they've recreated his email. So there's a couple thoughts. This sends a signal that there's a lot of stuff in the files that were made public that the government is realizing and wanting to cover up. This should embolden existing researchers. The popular sites with files and analysis could experience DDoS attacks very soon. Hopefully they have backups that are stored offline in local hard drives. If you're holding a local hard drive, like this one, the full Epstein files. This doesn't have the Epstein files on it, by the way. This is empty. I promise. This is empty. Please. All right. I'm saying, please, in the famous words of Kanye West, please, Jay-Z, don't send them hitters at my head. That is a joke. Jay-Z's not in these files. There's nothing in this. Is an empty drive. I just bought this. It's an empty drive. I'm going to do something with this. But if you did have a drive like this with the Epstein files on, you might want to protect your neck. That's all I'm going to say, okay? That's insane. People are saying just upvoting the shit out of everything of this post to boost relevancy of those potential researchers whom this would serve best. People are saying, holy shit, it's real. You can't even find Epstein's name in it. New story, Epstein never existed. Just go look in those sweet alien files instead. Just check out the alien. We don't need the Epstein files. We got those at home. Just got the alien files. Don't need them. Forget about those files. What files? I was just reading a document, then went back to do another search, and now it's showing me the same thing. That's exactly what happened to me. Page 1 and 5 were working fine. Then, for whatever reason, I couldn't go any further past page 5. Then I tried doing 2 to 4, the same thing, and now nothing. I literally attempted the .mp4 trick for the first time 10 minutes ago, only for everything to disappear after 2 minutes of research. You cooked. You cooked. They've made a mockery of justice for far too long. It's time to demonstrate. I'm not going to demonstrate because I'm scared. Okay, I'm actually so scared. So, basically... Okay, independent tracking has reported, basically, like, people that are tracking these reports independently and trying to preserve them, they've claimed that the Department of Justice has already systematically deleted hundreds of documents from the public record. We don't really know whether or not these are actually backed up anywhere, whether people have backed them up. So this is on EpsteinExposed.com. It says the Department of Justice quietly deleted 892 Epstein documents. We built a system to prove it. An independent audit of 1.38 million documents, document hashes reveals systematic deletions, silent modifications, and a government agency that cleaned up after itself. Oh, no. Oh, no. Maybe it was just an accident. Maybe they were just self-deleting files, man. Like, let's just stay alive, man. Let's just stay out of the way. It says, on an unknown date between 2024 and 2025, the Department of Justice removed 892 documents from its Epstein Files Transparency Act release. There was no press release, no Federal Register notice, no update in the EFTA portals. The file simply stopped resolving HTTP 404. Gone, right? We know this because independent researchers got there first before the deletions. Rodrigo Polo computed SHA-256 cryptographic hashes for every single file. They're using crypto to preserve the files, bro. You guys are cooked. But every file across 12 EFTA datasets, 1.38 million documents total. Separately, Break 2825 was monitoring the DOJ servers and logged every HTTP response change. Together, they preserved the receipts. You guys are in trouble, man. You guys are in big trouble. It said, we ingested all of it, every hash, right? Sounds like a trip to Amsterdam to me. They ingested every single hash, right? Someone's getting smoked. Every deletion record, every modification timestamp. And what we found raises questions that the DOJ has never publicly addressed. Here's the numbers. 892 documents deleted, removed from the DOJ EFTA Epstein Files Transparency Act server with no public announcement. 32 documents modified. Content was changed after initial publication across 8 datasets. 1,380,911 hashes were verified. So the SHA-256 hashes independently computed for every document. Surviving traces, 24. Fragmentary entity records, all that remains of the 892 deleted documents. Why didn't you save those documents? All right, please. What are they? Tell me. The overwhelming majority of deletions, 866 of 892, or 97%, came from dataset 9. Oh God, what was dataset 9? The remaining 26 deletions were scattered across datasets 1, 2, 3, 8, and 10. The deleted documents span a wide range of EFTA identification numbers from EFTA 000045963 to EFTA 01260086. This is not a contiguous block. The deletions were selective. DOJ's stated reason, they indicated that dataset 9 documents were removed because they contained abuse material. All right, we're not going to get into all that, but yeah. And that's fair. If that's the case, that's fair. If true, that removal is not only justified but legally required under federal law. We're not disputing that justification, right? That type of material doesn't have any place in public release. We fully support its removal, but the questions remain. Is this actually the fairest possible response, that the documents removed were actually illegal materials? You can't have those. Sorry, can't have those. Good. Maybe. But why were 32 documents in other datasets silently modified? If DS9 was pulled for that material, what explains content changes in datasets 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 12? These modifications were never announced or explained. Why was the deletion so thorough? When we attempted to reconstruct what was in the deleted documents, we discovered something unusual. The deletions didn't just remove PDFs from the server. They removed every document title and summary, every person to document link, every OCR text extraction, every entity extraction record, every co-occurrence relationship. Out of 892 documents that once existed in a fully indexed searchable database, only 24 fragmentary entity records survived. One mentions Ghislaine Maxwell. Other truncated names include Jeff Pagel, Laura Meningay, Vogelman Law. The rest addresses, dates, and organization code. That level of cleanup goes beyond pulling files from a web server. Someone systematically scrubbed every database table that referenced these documents. Why was there no public announcement? The Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed specifically to ensure public access to these records. When the government removes 900 documents from that release, the public has a right to know, even if the reason is legitimate. Okay, let us know. Modifications nobody mentioned. Beyond the 892 deletions, 32 documents across 8 datasets had their content modified after initial publication, and there they are. All right, there they are, whatever. You go check out EpsteinExposed.com, all right? There's nothing to do with me. Apparently, these were not abuse material removals. Their content changes to documents in datasets the DOJ never flagged. When a government agency modifies evidence documents after publication without disclosure, it undermines the integrity of the entire release. Every researcher, journalist, and attorney working on these files needs to know whether the version they have matches the version that was originally published. Now they can check. How we verify the integrity system. Today, we're launching a document integrity verification system built on 3 independent data sources. Independent hash verification. We ingested 1.3 million SHA hashes from Rodrigo Polo's repository, independently computed cryptographic fingerprints for every file across 12 EFTA datasets. An SHA-256 hash is a one-way mathematical function. Even if a single byte of a document changes, the hash changes completely. This is the same technology used to verify software downloads, blockchain transactions, and legal evidence chains of custody. That's a long day if you're trying to flip something out of the scary files. Every document on the site now displays its hash verification status. Verified as green shield. Document content matches its independently verified computed hash. Pending the document hasn't been verified. Mismatch red alert. The document's content has changed since the hash was computed or removed from DOJ red banner. The document was completely deleted from the government's servers. There's a deletion and modification tracking. We ingested every deletion and modification event from Beat 2825's monitoring project that tracked HTTP responses from the DOJ EFTA servers over time. Each event is logged with a timestamp, the affected document ID, the dataset, and the type of change. Documents that were deleted by the DOJ display a prominent red banner explaining the original was removed from the government servers. And they're going to be doing continuous monitoring. An automated integrity agent checks the DOJ servers twice daily, verifying a random sample of 50 documents. Once a week, it performs a deep verification on 20 high-value documents, downloading the full PDF and computing a fresh SHA-256 hash against our stored baseline. If any document disappears or changes, the system generates alert. The full methodology, dataset breakdowns, and the real-time stats are available on our integrity dashboard. Oh no, do I want to look at it? I'm scared. You can download the torrent. I'm scared. I'm not going to download it. The documents that were removed still exist in a torrent maintained by the same researchers who computed the hashes. We're not hosting this torrent, but its existence means deleted documents are not truly gone. They're just no longer available from the government that was ordered to release them. Oh boy. You can verify it yourself. You can clone it and compute these hashes, compare them against the DOJ servers. The tools are open source. The method is deterministic. Don't trust us. You can verify. Right? Bigger picture. The Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed because Congress recognized the public had a right to these records. The DOJ published 3.5 million pages, and quietly 892 of them disappeared. Maybe every one of those contained bad materials, and the deletion was entirely justified. So if the DOJ just say that publicly with specificity and explain the 32 modifications in other data sets while they're at it. Let me be generous to the DOJ and say, what if that was the case and the modifications, they were adding a quick little bit of redacting and censoring in there just to protect everybody? I hope that would be the case. But the default posture of a government agency should never be to silently alter a mandated public release. When the same agency that gave Epstein a sweetheart plea deal in 2007 removes evidence from a transparency release without public notice, the burden falls on them to explain, not onto the public to discover it through independent cryptographic audits. We built this system because accountability shouldn't depend on whether someone just happens to be watching. This is document integrity. This seems to be suggesting there is more deletions. They're now saying there's a total of 957 deletions, 32 modifications, 250 hash mismatches, right? This is crazy. Anomalies detected in the data sets, hash mismatches. Oh boy, all right. I'm done. I'm over this now, all right? I'm scared. This is enough. This is enough for me. So clearly there are some things here that aren't supposed to be seen. Maybe we should just forget this whole thing ever happened. You guys want to just forget this whole thing ever happened? I think we could just Epstein. Yeah, he's Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. I just want to chill. I just want to be a chill guy and just be alive. That's what I want to do. This is scary, man. So look, clearly there's a lot of strange things going on behind the scenes. Maybe there is actually a good reason for some of these deletions. Maybe the government don't owe you an explanation. After all, they're all mighty and big and powerful. I'm just a little peon. Okay, I'm just a little peon. Just delete anything you want. It's okay. Just delete anything you want. I don't mind. I'm scared little peon. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you feel like this is a cover-up in action? Do you feel like they've been caught out? Do you feel like there's actually fair and reasonable, justifiable reasons for some of these deletions? Let's be real. I know it's easy to follow conspiracy theories and hate the government and hate the feds and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, there are some genuine reasons on the table as to why they might have deleted things. There are actually reasons. Maybe they don't owe us an explanation. Maybe they do. I don't know. Okay. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to wrap this one up now. This one is actually a little bit spooky, and covering this stuff has actually made me quite anxious. So I'm just going to keep it moving. Okay. I will be back. I've got another Epstein video that I want to do today, and I've also got an Elementro video that I want to do because there has been some very interesting updates when it comes to the cartels. I'll keep you guys updated on those videos. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, I'm out, guys. Peace. Stay safe, and stay out of them files, man. I'm scared.
I think you're supposed to be a gay dog. How do I know?
All hell has been breaking loose across the world, and Donald Trump has been missing in action. He really hasn't even surfaced since that disastrous State of the Union that he gave. He reeks of weakness, and world leaders see this. I mean, you take a look at what's happening in North Korea right now. Kim Jong-un announcing yesterday that North Korea has a prospective plan to strengthen its national nuclear force, and it's going to focus on projects to increase the number of nuclear weapons and expand nuclear operational means and space for use. So no comment in response by Donald Trump's State Department or Donald Trump's Department of Defense or anybody in Donald Trump's regime. Could you imagine if that happened, what I just said, during former President Biden or former President Obama's administration, how right-wing propaganda media would just say, oh my God, it's World War III, look how weak you are. That's just another day in Donald Trump's weak America. In addition, we're now learning that China has flown large military drone operations at least 23 times since August over Taiwan, as it uses these drone operations to apparently rehearse a possible invasion. And no real comments from the State Department there. No real comments from Donald Trump or the Department of Defense. Utter and total weakness by the Trump regime. Also, yesterday, even though the Trump regime didn't address this in any material way, the Cuban embassy announced that a Florida-registered speedboat entered Cuban waters earlier yesterday morning and allegedly opened fire on Cuban border guards who approached it, injuring the commander of the Cuban vessel. Cuba says that 4 people on a U.S. boat were killed and 6 others aboard it were injured during the confrontation. And Cuba says that the individuals who opened fire against the Cuban Coast Guards were there to, quote, infiltrate the island and unleash terrorism. And they also claim that these 10 passengers had a history of being against the Cuban regime and that they were basically sent there from the United States, whether it was on direct orders or otherwise. And Cuba has detained the individuals on that boat who were not killed. You have Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, saying, I don't really know what's going on here. And you had J.D. Vance yesterday saying, I don't really know what's going on here. I mean, you would think that would be a pretty big international incident. I don't know. Call me old school or old fashioned, but isn't that kind of a thing that a president of the United States would address? And can we just pause here for a moment at what I just covered in a very short period of time? Kim Jong-un announcing increasing their nuclear arsenal. Not do they have a nuclear arsenal, increasing it and increasing weapons production. China flying drones over Taiwan to rehearse for an invasion. Cuba killing 6 people or so on a fishing boat. 4 people were killed. 6 others aboard it were injured on a fishing boat. That's just all happened in a pretty short period of time. Also, the United States is apparently getting closer to invading Iran. The way it's being reported, though, is since there's no one else that wants to be an ally of the United States now other than Israel, what Trump wants is for Israel to strike first, then have Iran retaliate and attack Israel, and then the Trump regime goes in. That's like what their current thinking and plan is. Although Lindsey Graham is saying anything short of total regime change and total annihilation of the Ayatollah and everybody in Iran is unacceptable. And I just want to say this, though. Didn't this Trump regime promise the protesters in Iran, go out there, protest, we got your back? If Iran shoots a single protester, the U.S. is going in guns a-blazing and will make sure that nobody gets killed. Then, I mean, there's different reporting on how many people were massacred by the Ayatollah. It could be as high as 30,000 to 40,000. On the low end, 5,000, 10,000. There's a media blackout there, so it's hard to know for sure. But here's what Lindsey Graham's posting. If media reports are true that there is a consideration of allowing Iran to have very small enrichment of uranium for face-saving purposes, screw that. This regime is made up of religious Nazis that are the largest state sponsor of terrorism. The regime has American blood on its hands, and they have killed over 30,000 of their citizens simply because they demand the end of their oppression. So you see Lindsey Graham is using the 30,000 number of the 30,000 massacre of people in Iran. Well, I think that's accurate. I think that's the number. But Donald Trump told the protesters to go out there. Donald Trump said, go out there, I got your back, then didn't have their back. Again, think about if Biden did that or Obama did that or George W. Bush did that. This would be outrage. I mean, right? This would be the impeachment, 25th Amendment, you name it. This would be outrageous. But our corporate news gives Donald Trump a pass, not here on the Midas Touch Network. Okay, now pause again. What are we talking about again that I just talked about in this episode? North Korea expanding its nuclear arsenal. Cuba killing 4 people, injuring 6 off a boat from the United States that they claim was there to what, attack or invade Cuba. Talked about the Chinese drones over Taiwan. And now we're talking about war with Iran. By the way, in the past, 24, 48 hours, it was the 4-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And in the United Nations, there was a resolution that said, we need to have lasting, comprehensive, and just peace in Ukraine, and calling out Russia for its invasion. It was just a resolution to say we need peace in Ukraine, right? Do you think the United States supported that resolution? No. Well, Russia voted against it. The United States and China abstained. The United States cannot even clearly articulate that it wants peace in Ukraine, while Donald Trump and his regime are out there claiming that they're focused on a peace deal. No, they're not. They want to bleed Ukraine dry of its resources and they want to help Putin in every way possible, as Putin has promised Donald Trump a $12 trillion economic deal when Russia's GDP is $2 trillion a year. But you know, Donald Trump's a Putin bootlicker. He's got the photo of Putin right there in the West Wing above the photo of his grandchildren. That's who Donald Trump is. And so this is what's going on in the world already. And last night, more ballistic missiles, Shahed drones from Iran attacking Ukraine, more explosions in Kharkiv, in Kyiv, in Zaporizhia. By the way, if you also look at over the past 4 years, how many Russians were killed in its invasion of Ukraine, here's how Michael Weiss describes it. Our model suggests that Russian casualties are now between 1.1 million and 1.4 million, of whom 230,000 to 430,000 Russians are dead. That would mean 1 in 25 Russian men between the ages of 18 and 49 may have been killed or severely wounded since the start of Russia's invasion.
Most dress shirts make you choose, look polished or feel comfortable. Mizzen & Main is the first shirt I've worn.
You missed a big one. Bill Gates admitted to the affairs. Wait, what? Bill Gates admits? So Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has admitted that he had 2 affairs with Russian women, only 2, while married to his ex-wife, has now issued a groveling apology. Gates told staffers at his foundation on Tuesday that he flew on a private plane with the disgraced financier and spent time with him in the U.S. and abroad, but doesn't participate in any crime. I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit, Gates said at the town hall meeting. To be clear, I never spent any time with the victims, the women around him. He met Epstein in 2011, which was after the financier's Florida conviction for procuring a child for profit. Definitely not a guy I'd want to be friends with after that. I did have affairs. Okay, this is it. I did have affairs with one Russian bridge player and with one Russian nuclear physicist who I met through business activities. Epstein previously threatened Gates over the affair.
To add insult to the injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis.
This is the chick they did it with and was previously reported by the outlet. So if he admits that he had an affair with 2 Russian women, how many Russian women did he really have an affair with? Because, like, if at first he said he didn't know the guy at all, and then it turns out that they were friends, 3 weeks ago he denied everything.
I went to the island, I never met any women, and so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that, although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Bill Gates admits he had 2 affairs with Russian women.
It had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
That's crazy. What do you think the odds of that are?
Apparently, Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email was...
he was writing emails to himself. Listen, he was never... Wait, Jeffrey who?
The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing.
I've left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Is it Jerry?
Faults. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
Yeah, I sure think so. And Jeffree Star, I guess it must be, it's a different Jeffrey. Jeffrey Dahmer.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
So bladder contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the verumontanum.
That's how I would have said it.
The testes are unremarkable. That's the last thing I want anybody to say about my nuts. I want them to say, wow, what a great pair.
Great body, but the nuts are
unremarkable.
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 So here is some sort of discussion between him and someone.
Okay. The guy says exactly not clear what effects hormones might have on that aren't replaced by testosterone. The advantage of taking testosterone, there are two different things. You can have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? And then Epstein says, correct.
And then at the bottom, they show another document.
Hold on. Let me keep going there.
Yeah.
So that's an extreme example. I was actually going to try and move up one level, sort of drug-enhancing life. If you don't mind it, he doesn't mind it. I'm sort of outer space thinking. Oh, so he's trying to juice up. So he's saying I'm moving up one level of sort of drug-enhancing life. I don't know what I think he means. He's going to start juicing. That's what it sounds like.
So he doesn't have a
Doesn't
prostate?
have a prostate, it
There's
says.
another document that says something about it after a radical prostatectomy.
Prostatectomy.
So when they take out your prostate?
But that doesn't necessarily say he had his. I think it's a document.
But he
saying-
said
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have
Correct,
a prostate,
right,
and it says patient Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
It says, according to the American Urological Association, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable levels after radical prostatectomy.
And there's other documents where
Prostatectomy.
he's contacting doctors that specialize in that very thing.
Okay, so the doctor saying he had a radical prostatectomy. He's saying he does not have a prostate, but yet the body from the autopsy
And so then-
talks about the prostate is slightly and diffusedly enlarged. So that's not his body? That's what it seems like.
I don't buy
You don't buy that?
I don't buy he's dead. Why would you?
Right. I don't buy he's dead either.
Here's the other.
But, however, hold on.
This is from a attorney. So this is like assistant United States attorney or something.
So the OCME told me it signed a confidentiality agreement in connection with the investigation into the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
So that's almost 6 months after he died. They're asking for a document about the investigation of the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
Was that because there was accusations that it was a murder?
I don't,
So we talked about this before, that 18 days before he allegedly committed suicide, he complained that his cellmate tried to kill him. And you know who his cellmate is?
Who?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
I'm Kurt Metzger. You don't know? Oh, you don't know? His cellmate was this gigantic cop who was a murderer. He had killed 4 different drug dealers. Yeah, he was a contract killer. This is the guy. That's his fucking cellmate. Look at that gorilla.
That's a silverback.
Yeah, dirty cop, murderer. And then they said, most high-profile witness of all time, defendant of all time. Let's put him in jail with a murderer, a guy who contract kills, dirty cop. And then he says the report was they found him unresponsive with a noose around his neck, or an orange jumpsuit turned into a rope around his neck. And then he said that his cellmate tried to kill him.
My question. Does anyone really believe he was in a jail cell? Because I know if I had the guy that can unravel entire government dynasties and take down an entire system, the last thing, dude, he's somewhere about 3 miles underground with maybe a ball in his mouth with electric rods. Or
he's in Israel sipping Mai Tais.
Correct. Either place, it's like, that video you said, you sent this on a runaround. We're gonna ask you one more time, or then we're gonna laser off your nipples. I'm telling you right now. We need.
Yeah, I doubt they're doing that to him.
So he's either in Israel, like you said.
If they had that, they would just get rid of his body.
You saw the picture of the so-called that was him in Israel.
I think that's AI.
I think it's AI too. That's a scary thing with AI.
I think it even had a little AI watermark on it. The one I saw, at least. But who knows? It could be a real picture that someone put through AI to put a watermark on it so that people could go, oh, it's AI.
Right. You don't know.
Do you see the lady that they say looks exactly like Ghislaine
Yes.
Maxwell? I don't think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell. I think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell 20 years ago.
It was a deep fake.
It's a deep fake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sam Tripoli reposted the guy that made it. He
Oh,
made
that's
another video too that was
crazy.
not as good, where he's like looking at Benjamin Netanyahu on the street. And it's not
I feel
nearly
like
as good.
the problem is the aging. She doesn't look aged. She looks younger.
Yeah.
But I
She
guess
looks pretty,
that's
too.
what happens when you get out of jail.
And you get more attractive.
Yeah, you get food. You
Right,
get
start-
sunlight.
Makeup.
A little exercise.
Taking some yoga.
Yeah. Is there any video of him in jail? Are there any photos of him in jail? I've never thought about that before. But what you're saying is a good point.
If you, Joe, if you held, if let's say you were the person that had all this incredible information around the world, bribery, do you really think you take drug lords? You're not killing them. You need the information, so you're going to bring them somewhere. You're going to milk them to it, however that is. Whether he's tied up, whether you're going to torment him. Be like, listen, I'm telling you right now, we're going to take care of you. However, I need to know. You say there's tapes, right? Yeah. Where are the tapes? Write them down. And you're going to stay. Don't feed him. Don't feed him until we get that one tape and we have these names in our hands. And that's probably been going on even for months, for years. You're not taking someone like that and going, oh, we're just going to put this very valuable human being into a jail cell where
With a multiple murderer,
with
who's a
two guys
contract
making
killer,
$18 an hour are going to watch him.
who are sleeping
Like, come on, stop.
when the cameras are down.
Stop. They pre-production. All right, so let's get the green screen and we have him walking in here, sir. Does that look somewhat? And then we can release it down the road. It's processed Hollywood nonsense. I don't buy it.
Okay, this is assuming, though, that he was working on his own, that he had all this information. So if he's not working on his own, he's working for an intelligence agency, then they have that information as well. So along the way, so there are no secrets that he's holding. They have all the secrets. This is much more likely. So in order for him to be in the position that he was in, allegedly, working for intelligence agencies, working for either the Mossad, the CIA, or both, all the above, I would assume that along the way, all of the information was shared. I do not believe they would let one person have access to all that information and store it themselves. I think they would have access to it at every step of the way. They would communicate with him at every step of the way. And they would probably have, if I was running a government agency like that, I would say, tell me what's going on. What do you have on Bill Gates? What do you have on Les Wexner? What do you have on these guys?
Yeah.
What are they willing to do? What about these scientists?
Yes.
Are they willing to fill bogus science papers out? And what can we do? Jeffrey Epstein stashed secret files in storage unit across U.S. that may include never-before-seen evidence. Oh.
So this came out yesterday that when he got arrested, he supposedly paid for investigators to go round up all of the stuff and put it in various storage units across the country, like it's a wild goose chase now. And like there's stuff apparently maybe no one's ever seen. They don't know if they're still getting paid for. They don't know.
Imagine if they found, those storage unit shows?
Exactly.
Where they break into those storage unit shows?
I don't understand.
And it
how
happened on the real time one.
Right?
Like
Could
they
you
think they're
imagine?
just getting like old baseball
I
cards.
heard those shows are bullshit. A friend of mine told me that what they do is they'll stock those shows, they'll stock those storage units, and then they pretend that they're buying the storage unit that's been abandoned, and then they get in there and then they find things. But those things were,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah,
you.
I don't buy any reality TV.
I know, but that's awful.
Well, it's entertainment.
I feel duped.
Do you really?
I do.
Joe, you really thought
That's the thing
once
that
in a while
bothers
you
me.
thought it was real?
Not the government corruption, not all the Medicaid fraud, not all the immigration fraud, not all the ICE stuff. No, what really bugs me is lying on a storage unit show. I just can't.
Or like a cash cab show. Like, are they really contestants?
These are our
they-
great distractions. These are the great distractions to keep us from paying attention
Yes.
to what's really going on in the world.
The reality TV. There's no There's no reality. It's all well produced. Joe, wow.
How much is it well produced? Here's the question: is it really well produced? Because it seems like this one was a really shitty production job.
That was production. That was a bad. That was like low. The only guy making it is the guy that's selling the ads.
Well, not
He's
just
crushing
the
it.
guy who's in charge of it fucks kids, right?
Oh,
so
this
like,
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if this one, why would you let that guy who's gonna eventually get caught? I would assume if you have a thing for kids, you have a thing for if you're a pedophile, if you're into like 14-year-old girls, I would assume you're gonna get caught. And if I had a guy like that, or was this at a time where you couldn't get caught because there was no internet, and then it got to a point where he had so much power and control because he'd been there for so long, they couldn't. They're like, oh Jesus Christ, we got a problem.
Well, think of it. The criminals, they never think they're getting caught, period. Especially, like, think organized crime.
Even
If
the one
you're-
we choose is usually more trouble
It's no
than
different like
worth.
the scenes from Goodfellas, right? You come in and say, what's the matter with you? I told you, what? You show up with a pink Cadillac? What's the matter with you?
Right.
What's the matter with you? They can't help it. He told everyone, don't
spend the money.
Don't look flashy. This guy, without a doubt.
His wife had a mink coat on, remember that?
What that shit? Right. Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
He gave it to me for my birthday. Take it off. What's the matter with you? And now that guy, this guy, he's just the, remember when the steroids came out in baseball?
Uh-huh.
And what they do, they were like, listen, you got to take a hit. You got to take a hit. Mark, Barry Bonds, you guys are going to go out. We're going to front you. But don't worry, you're going to stay in baseball. We'll it'll go away in about 10 years. But the owners are not going to get popped. The people making the steroids, injecting the people aren't going to get popped.
Well, they got popped. Balco got popped.
No,
they got
the
popped.
little
He went
guys
to
get
jail.
popped.
No,
the
no.
little ones.
No. The head of Balco went to jail. I had him on the podcast after he got out of jail.
What about the owners that knew it was going? What about the agents and lawyers that are supplying their stuff?
No. Listen, you don't understand about the baseball thing.
That's why I say someone like this guy with a long network, there's so many tentacles all over the place, but you always need the fall guy.
Right.
I mean, was he the demon? Yeah, but there's a lot of demons there.
Did you see the email that I sent you, Jamie, where he's talking about children for sex? Do you remember, the email I sent you, Jamie? I sent it the other day. I'm like, well, that pretty much sums it up then, because he actually said it. Find that. I sent it to you in a text message. This one's crazy.
I've heard
So
some bad
he's
ones.
having a conversation with a woman who says that she heard that there's a place. Here it is. She's very emotional, kind, loving, sharp. I think you can become friends too. So here it says. A friend, Eliza, told me about a project she's doing researching a really bad guy that gets children for sex sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so that's just there. There's no way to interpret that any other way. That person is me.
That person is me. I'm
Children for sex sent to his island. That person is me. Holy shit. That one is fucking crazy. That's 2018.
So yeah, this has been going on for.
So this is like right before he got arrested, right?
Supposedly.
But when did he get arrested?
2019.
2019, right?
What month?
I don't know. I feel like it was May, maybe.
So this was like, but there was an investigative reporter that was at the head of all this. This lady that was really pushing because she had found out about his sweetheart deal in 2008, and she started gathering information and pushing it. And that's what led ultimately, I think, to his being arrested.
Or what I would say is the front of like, hey, we're doing things.
Well, if there's a different body that the autopsy had, it makes you question, like, was he ever in that cell? Or was this person who's in that cell, did they sell this person as Jeffrey Epstein?
Right.
Well, you imagine the guy in the cell going, I am not.
No, I'm not. No.
My name is Harvey. I live on the Upper East Side. I don't know what happened. I got a speeding ticket. And now, next thing you know, I can't go home.
Yes, and this poor guy's just getting railed hard before just sitting there, and he's tying him up on the thing, and he's just, you're going to spin him around for a couple hours.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
She knows that Jesus watches over her. He helped save her life. In response, Jeffrey Epstein says, you should dress up as him when you see her.
So we see this darkness. It involves leaders in academia, in science, in industry, in politics.
Another just insane detail that has emerged here is that Lawrence Krauss was trying to get Epstein and Rogan to meet together.
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going, because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
It's hard to come up with a language to express what we're observing in the world other than the language of theology.
I hadn't seen any real evidence for it until these files. And now I'm like, oh, this is demonic. This is clearly demonic.
To people who have been on the train of world's run by satanic pedophiles and like that, well, now you're seeing some of it.
The question is not good or bad. The question is what's natural.
There's definitely a parental advisory on this video. If you're watching this with your children, I do not recommend that you do that. I want to warn you because I know a lot of the content on this channel is family friendly. This video will not be family friendly.
Weinstein's decades-long chain of alleged harassment was a dirty Hollywood secret.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded by them. They would pull away the better-looking younger kids and keep them for their own after party, and it would turn into a pool party. And then they'd have their rules. Oh, there's no swimsuits on in the pool.
In a new interview with the Sunday Times, the former child star alleges that pedophilia has been a real issue in Hollywood. He tells the publication, quote, "There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. What bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power."
And it's not just Hollywood, it's also the music industry. You've got people like P. Diddy, who obviously everyone now knows about that.
Jay-Z, Diddy, and others. Primarily Jay-Z. Jay-Z is my top one. I was asked why don't I like Jay-Z, and on my list was the fact that when I was 16, I heard him put out a song, or I guess the song was already out, I don't know, saying 666, unalive Jesus, like what? After that, he called himself Ove, a disrespect to Jehovah. He then opened a museum about himself, mimicking the pages of the Bible, then created a movie disrespecting Jesus again, like he's like Jesus' biggest hater. Okay, he's been demonic since forever. Made a movie about Jesus being a magician and not really the Son of God. And I can go on.
It's all a joke. We're just having fun. It's art. It's comedy. It's entertainment. There's nothing to see here.
Jay-Z was also implicated after being present during an abduction of a victim, where the victim was assaulted by Harvey Weinstein while Jay-Z watched it happen. The account says later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z, while Weinstein had inserted his fingers into the victim. After this point in the account, the document describes the individual regaining consciousness in a room with multiple high-profile figures present.
I was 14 and he put that song out about unaliving Jesus, like he's been demonic.
I mean, Jay-Z even created merch that says, "Do what thou wilt" across the chest, which references Aleister Crowley. So it's not that hidden. You also have people like Cat Williams, who was ringing the bell about this over a year ago.
There are spiritual things going on in the world. There are things that are bigger than just coincidence, and a ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way.
And then more recently, you have really weird instances like this one where Roseanne Barr is talking to Tucker Carlson, of all people, and she says this.
And they're just trying to protect themselves because when that list comes out and all the other stuff is declassified, you know, it's going to be like worse than the emperor naked. It's going to be the emperor went to Epstein Island and ate people.
Dang.
And you know they do that. You know they... Babies, that is not... It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody's island and emperor naked. It's going to be the emperor went to themselves because when that list comes out and all the other stuff is declassified, you know, it's going to be like worse than the emperor naked. It's going to be the emperor went to Epstein Island and ate people. And you know they do that. You know they... Babies, that is not... It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
Please wake up, even those who are pretending to be asleep, with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that.
And listen to the response to this at the time.
Bro, take your medicine. Look, I don't know how many of you guys have experience with this, but it's a very, very common thing. Somebody who has a severe psychological issue, like severe bipolar disorder or paranoid schizophrenia, one of the really bad ones, usually they really hate taking their medicine because they say it takes away the thing that makes them feel special.
But now listen to some of the things that are being said post this most recent Epstein Files drop, and listen to how the conversation, the tone, the openness, and really everything is changing right now in culture as it comes to this particular topic.
If there was ever a time where people could step back and say, you know, even some of the people who didn't have any real evidence to point to, but who were making what we would have termed crazy claims, even 2 years ago, but let alone 9, 10 years ago. Even if they didn't have real evidence and it was just like a great